You probably heard about the art of using your imagination, about imagining things and making them come true. It seems wishy-washy, almost mystical. People like John Jones and Conor McGregor talk about it, about the law of attraction, law of imagination, that you can just imagine things and they'll come true. There have been even books written about it. Psycho-cybernetics is one to mention, and it seems like something so easy, something that you can just do like this, and yeah, you get the result. The thing is, it's not that simple. It works, of course. It feels even productive. You start to see some results, even if you're doing it right. But then it starts to slip up, and you start to imagine things when you shouldn't be imagining them. And this is the precise thing. And this is why some people call self improvement mental masturbation, because you're imagining success instead of doing it. And when you like disconnect the thoughts and the thinking, learning from the actual actions that you give the result, you get mental masturbation.
That what a man looks like? Self improvement is masturbation.
It's all mental masturbation. One entrepreneurship. Things you don't want because you're just stuck in your head and you're not getting any results. Why does it happen? Why is daydreaming so bad? It's because when you think and when you imagine things, you start to feel like you're doing it. You start to feel like you're accomplishing something. You start to feel like the person that's doing the thing. You start to become upgraded to some extent. It might be good if you take action on it, but if not, it's waste of time for one, and for the other is that when you imagine these things, your brain starts to release the chemicals that will be released, the dopamine, the serotonin, all the other chemicals that will just make you feel good after you progress. And since our the brain in our minds is an optimizing machine, it starts to turn into like some sort of bad habit, into a little addiction to daydreaming. Because why would you do the things you just can't think about? Why would you go and cold approach the girl if you can just think about having sex? Why would you work in your business if you can just think about being rich? And it's weird, like, it's so primitive and so just simple, but most people do it. Like, almost everyone I know just daydreams at one point in their life. And it's, I think, the worst habit you can get. Like, even like jaking off and just drinking alcohol and sleeping late. I think that you can get away with them and still be successful. But if you do this, if you daydream, then success is like something you don't really achieve. Why? Because again, you just think about progress. You don't actually do it. You waste years on just thinking and imagining how you could become the person you want to be without actually doing the things that bring closer to you, the goals. How do you catch this bad habit and actually break it? How do you dissolve it and how do you actually take the good things from it without just letting go? Because imagination is like awesome and you want to be imagining things for the sake of progress. That's why the books have been read and that's why the grades use it. You see, daydreaming and meditation go hand in hand. You can think of it like as two brothers, for example, one being the evil and one being the good. It's like kind of a spectrum. On one hand, you have daydreaming, and on the other, you have meditation. In one, you're mindless, if you're doing it like mindlessly, of course, and in the other, you're present. You see what I'm getting here? If your mind wanders and you daydream like aimlessly without a goal, then you start to become more mindless. You start to become more like a zombie, more instinctual, more just like an animal. On the other hand, if you meditate, then you become more present, more human-like. And the thing is, if you daydream, if you visualize your things, and you have a goal behind it, that's actually kind of meditation. But if you don't, if you just do it for the sake of feeling and the sake of just feeling good, then it's not meditation, that is just being mindless. So, the actual step to fixing this mind wandering and this purposelessness behind daydreaming is to meditate. At least I give you like 10 minutes a day. It's gonna be hard at the start, but it's gonna get better. What I really recommend you is to meditate right as you wake up. You just wake up, shut the alarm clock off, then just go sit maybe somewhere else instead of your bed because you can just fall asleep. Then take your phone, get the 10-minute on the clock app, and yeah, just sit there with your eyes closed and just focus on your breath. Focus on how your stomach expands. Do it for 10 minutes. And after some time, about 2 seconds, which is like the most attention span people have, you're gonna start thinking, you're gonna start daydreaming even. And when you catch yourself doing that, just bring your focus back to the breath. And it's just like the gym, because this was just one rep in your set of 10 minutes. You did one rep, and you do this for like 10 minutes, because your mind is gonna start wandering, and you're gonna just curl the brain muscle, the focus muscle, the present muscle. After this, you're off for the day. Additionally, one thing you could actually do is that whenever you catch yourself daydreaming in your day-to-day life, like when you're in school, when you're in traffic, when you're commuting or something like this, you're gonna probably just daydream because you have to amuse yourself because, yeah, dopamine levels are fucked. And then when you notice it, just slap yourself like mentally and, yeah, notice it and bring your focus back onto something real. This could be, for example, the car outside the window, or the traffic that's gonna arrive, or the people in the bus, for example. After that's done, you just did another rep of meditation. So you can just meditate passively through this, or actively through just sitting down for 10 minutes and actively meditating, which is a nice thing. After about a month, which seems like a long time, you're gonna feel like a totally different person, which makes sense because, yeah, it's a month. But these little smaller benefits will come along the way. Like, even after the just 10 minutes of meditation, you're gonna feel like calmer. The cortisol is gonna drop. After a week of it, you might feel like you're calmer, but mostly all the time, you're gonna feel like more present. You're gonna feel like you're just a better person. You're gonna catch yourself like doing bad habits, thinking about bullshit, and yeah, it's awesome. So, you know about daydreaming, you know about why it's bad, how to break the habit if you even just get into it. Now it's time to actually do the visualization, do the daydreaming with an intent, with the results you want. This is the way that the greats, the Conor McGregors, the John Joneses of the world do, the successful people. How do they do this? As I said, you're gonna be meditating to some extent on your thoughts. You're gonna be visualizing the things you want, the goals, the successes, and things. But instead of being mindless while you do it, you're gonna have to have an intent. How to do it? How to have an intent? The way I like to do it, and the way that really fucking works, is that you write something, perhaps on your calendar, give it a time slot for about like 10 minutes, and then you do the same thing as meditation. You sit down, you close your eyes, and you start thinking about the goal. This could be, for my example, I want to win a competition in Jiu-Jitsu. So I sit down, I close my eyes, I get an alarm for like 10 minutes, and I just start thinking about how could I improve in Jiu-Jitsu? How could I just win? What things do I need to work on? I start to practice. And I will sometimes let my mind wander. But every time it happens, I'll just bring it back to the thing I am just practicing in my mind, which is Jiu-Jitsu. This could be bag escapes or just mount or things like this. Doesn't matter. You start to think about it. You start to think about it, you start to perform some mental reps, which actually work like the real ones. So you can just go and shoot 3 free throws on the basketball court in your mind, and you're gonna actually improve, which is fucking weird. But you're gonna do this for the time slot you'll allocate it, and with the goal and intent you set. This could be another habit, you could just add to a habit tracker. And after you do this, the time's gonna eventually run out, it's gonna beep, you're gonna be pulled out of the daydream so you don't just stay in it and start mentally jacking off or something. And bam, that's all. You just finished your another session of meditation actually. But this one was different. This one wasn't mindfulness meditation and just for being more present. This one was for progress, for progressing, for getting towards goals, which is fucking awesome. If you enjoyed this video, if you found something helpful, then I would really appreciate you giving me a like, giving me a sub, and fucking things like this. I'm on a mission to help the people who suffer the same problems as I do. So if you're one of them, or even if you find this video helpful, hit the subscribe button. The gold I'm sharing is gonna just get better, so just watch.